So, moving on to the last segment we kind of do every day, I would like to give my final take of the day. I'm going to bring it back to like an NFL subject.
Would you like to go first?
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Okay, I'll also record this for our Instagram if y'all want to check it out at Homecourt Podcast.
Homecourt_podcast.
Please follow us.
Please check us out. Follow us. Subscribe to our YouTube also, Homecourt Podcast. Be active, guys. We'll respond to y'all. We like the activity. We like the communication. We want to get to know some of our listeners, some of our viewers. So, yeah, be sure to check that out. But anyway, back to my final take. So, this year, everyone has been talking about, rightfully so, I might add, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. But I'm telling you, do not forget about Deshaun Watson. He is carrying this Texans franchise. He just won his third AFC Offensive Player of the Week, okay? He put up 298 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions against the best defense in the league in the Patriots. The Texans have now beat the Patriots and the Chiefs. And let me remind you, this is a Bill O'Brien-led team, okay? It's not like we have one of the better coaches in the league. The Texans still make terrible situational, like, timeout decisions. They still have awful play calls in pivotal moments, and Deshaun Watson is carrying this Texans team. If Deshaun Watson at this point is not in your top 5 quarterback, you are sadly mistaken.
Take note, Deshaun Watson, MVP.
And watch out for the Texans this year. I am telling you, they beat the Pats, and they beat, like I said, the Chiefs. The Ravens are a very tough matchup for the Texans, but I think anyone else the Texans can beat. Hopefully, maybe somebody else can knock off the Ravens, but watch out for the Texans. Watch out for Deshaun Watson. He needs to be talked about, mentioned just as much as those other quarterbacks who rightfully so are being mentioned a lot this year and are in the MVP conversation, obviously.
Okay, kind of following up on what Keon said, still going live. Okay, so I like to kind of bring up the Mavericks and Dirk Nowitzki. So, many of y'all don't know, on his title run, he beat the defending champion Lakers. Who did he beat after that? Did he beat the Spurs? Nowitzki on his title run.
Oh, yeah, in 2011?
Yeah.
Oh, they beat the Lakers, they beat OKC, and they beat the Heat.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Beat OKC with their big 3. And I think, like, just looking back on the dominance of Dirk Nowitzki, this should be addressed more because we saw 3 of the most historic teams all go down by the same guy, and it was really Dirk Nowitzki and like Jason Terry, and JJ Barea. Like, they beat the defending champions. They went on to beat one of the best 3 MVPs on the same team, like a very young, talented team, one of the best trios the NBA has ever seen. Then they beat LeBron and the Heat, the best trio the NBA has ever seen, all in the same season.
Did you mention they beat the Lakers with Kobe?
Yeah.
They swept them?
Yeah. Swept the defending champions. They swept them.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine having to go through those teams to win a championship only with Dirk. You're playing with 1 star. And I feel like in this NBA, everyone thinks you have to have 3-4 stars to win. But if you just look at this, the NBA was kind of wired very similarly. Like, all those super teams were beaten by 1 superstar. So I feel like with Luka Doncic this year, he's bringing something back to the Mavs that hasn't been there in a long time. Fun fact, the Mavs haven't won a playoff series since that championship. They literally have not won a playoff series since their championship.
Yeah.
And I feel like, Luka's doing something really crazy because now we're seeing a team that wasn't in the playoff picture. They're now like competing with the Rockets, Lakers, Clippers, some of these really stacked teams. And they have a guy in his second year, and then they have, Porzingis coming off an knee injury. So I feel like this is, really big, and they shouldn't be where they're at. But Luka and
they have a great coach. They have the same coach, Rick
Coach of the year. Yeah, he believes in his players more than a lot of coaches in the NBA do, and I feel like they should get more credit.
Yeah, for sure.